Last year, Rob Mackay was voted the Concordia University football team's most valuable player. He was also a Quebec Conference All-Star. He came back to Concordia this year to play one last season with the Stingers. But today, he's forced to watch from the sidelines. As quarterback, Rob is a prime target on the field. During the season opener, he was hit by an opponent and suffered a concussion.
A lot of times the defender will put his helmet right in our stomach, and it's not that hit that'll concuss us, it's when we hit the ground and our head snaps back. And that's what happened to me. I just got bumped, fell to my side, and it was an innocent looking hit, and then my head just smacked off the turf, and that did it.
A concussion happens when an impact to the head, face, or body causes the brain to hit hard against the inside of the skull. Symptoms include headaches, dizziness, and blurred vision. After Rob was hurt, the vision in his left eye was blurred, but that eventually went away. Even though he knew immediately that he was concussed, he continued to play.
I'm a competitor. I don't want to lose. I felt if I would have come out, we would have lost the game, and it's very important to start on a victory. So, if I had to do it again, I probably wouldn't come out of the game again either. I mean, I want to play. That's what I'm here for, and it's too bad it's worked out the way it has, but it's life, I guess.
Debbie Friedman is the Director of Trauma Programs at the Montreal Children's Hospital. She says that Rob should worry more about his health than about winning a game.
It seems like he's lost more than just the game, and I think that's what's important, is to really respect the fact that a concussion is an entity that needs to be reckoned with, and it needs to be treated in a very aware and responsible manner in a timely way.
Debbie says that playing through concussions puts athletes at risk of greater injuries. She thinks that macho attitudes are putting athletes' long-term health on the line.
I think some of the most impressive patients that I've seen are ones that have gotten injured in the first quarter or the first period and end up playing through the game and have absolutely no recollection of the entire game, but they actually continue to play because for whatever reason they needed them, they were the best player, they were short players, whatever it, or, oh, it's part of being tough, you deal with it, get on and move it. The reality is many of these people do suffer.
Debbie says that athletes with concussions should be symptom-free for at least a week before going back to play. Since that game nearly 2 months ago, Rob hasn't gone 2 days without having headaches and feeling dizzy.
So, at this point, I think I need to get a CAT scan just to see, for more than anything, peace of mind. Okay, there's nothing going on. It's just rest. But the fact of the matter is I haven't been symptom-free for 2 days, and that's what I need to be, and it's been over a month now. So I'm wondering, okay, what's going on? Why is it like this?
But Debbie says that CAT scans and MRIs will often miss the signs of a concussion.
The reality is most concussions won't show up on a scan, and they're much more of a functional than a structural type of injury. And you can't just sort of say, okay, I'll stick on a bandage and off I go, or I'll use a pair of crutches and I'll feel better.
Dr. Jen Kai Chen works at the Montreal Neurological Institute. He says an MRI will barely distinguish a concussed brain from a normal one.
In the MRI. So here you have two brains, one is a patient with a concussion, and the other one's a normal control, or what the healthy subject. And if you compare the MRI, you don't really see any difference between the two. But this person, he had 8 previous concussions, and he's suffering all the symptoms, post-concussive symptoms.
Dr. Chen is researching the use of functional MRIs. In other words, he's trying to find out which brain functions might have been damaged by a concussion.
So we give the subject or the patient a task. And when they do the task, we can see this localized increase in brain blood flow in the area of the brain where you're using the brain to do the task. And we can see what happened after concussion, whether there's a normal change in blood flow.
I asked Dr. Chen to show me some of the tests he gives athletes after they've had a concussion. I found them difficult, even though I've never had a concussion myself. The first test I tried required me to search out 6 landmarks within a computerized maze. After finding them, I was tested to see whether I could choose the most direct route to each landmark. It was harder than I expected. Dr. Chen's colleague, Nadia Gosselin, then put me through an EEG exam. Those things on my head are electrodes. They record the electrical activity in my brain. Nadia had me conduct a memory test while wearing them. The signals were then turned into data that the researchers can analyze. This kind of functional MRI isn't available yet for general use, but it could eventually be an extremely useful tool to detect concussions and detect how much brain damage they've caused. In the meantime, Rob is trying to get better, with a lot of rest and regular trips to the doctor. Debbie says that Rob is right to take his time coming back.
Going back to activity too soon puts you in a very compromised position, because many times people will be afraid that they're going to get re-injured, therefore don't play well, and bottom line, they may not feel well. Their reactions may be a little bit off, their speed might be a little bit off. Subtle things that if you looked at somebody, you wouldn't really notice anything. But if that person would be able to let you know they're not functioning at their normal level.
Rob may have been reckless by choosing not to leave the game early, but he says in the long run, it's his health that matters.
You know, it's my life. Like, I want to be able to run around the field with my kids when I'm 40 rather than stand there, because I decided to come back too early. So, you know, I need my brain. That's what people tell me. So I better just wait and see.
At this point, he still can't be sure about his status as a stinger. He says the chances that he could be better next week are almost the same as the chances that he could be out for the entire season. If he can play again, he says that he won't be worrying about getting another concussion.
You know, as long as they say your head's fine, you can play, and I heard something else, well, it's just bad luck. But I'm not going to stop playing in fear of injury. I mean, you know, you don't, I wouldn't be an athlete, I wouldn't be a competitor if I did that. So, no, if next week I'm fine, I'll play. And, well, if I hurt anything, well, so be it. It's what happens, but hopefully I won't.